family interview area, and Joni Smith.
Well, thank you so much. Nice job with those cowboys. This is the last hour for the cowbells. So, you guys, let's ring our cowbells. Come on, guys, behind us. John, where's your cowbell? John, you have a funny look on your face. Why do you have a funny look on your face?
Because my blue cowbell that I've been using all week long disappeared this morning, and now all of a sudden it reappeared on my table.
Really?
I want to know who had my blue cowbell. This was like the main cowbell. I'm like the cowbell master.
We will reveal that. We'll reveal that next year at the 2018 Children's Miracle Network Hospital Radiothon.
The Bisek family is ready for you, Joan.
They are. Super Sophie is with it. Hi, Sophie.
Hi.
How are you?
Good.
Good. You brought Mom and Dad. Mandy is here. Curtis is here. Olivia is here. Welcome, family.
Hi.
It's really good to see you guys.
Good to see you.
You too.
So before we get started, answering the phones, the Miss America organization is with us. And I said to Sophie when she got here this afternoon, I said, Sophie, and I said, Olivia, I said, you guys, look at those beautiful sparkling crowns that the girls are wearing. And they said, my mommy has a crown like that at home, too. You're royalty.
Joni, you didn't just do that.
Miss Lacrosse, yes, I did. What I didn't say was
Is
Miss
what year?
Arcadia, too. Miss Arcadia and Miss Lacrosse.
Thank you.
And we're among royalty all the way around. And we're not making light of that because that's wonderful.
Well, thank you.
That's great. So, Sophie, you're feeling good?
Yep.
Okay. 7 years old.
Yep.
What school do you go to?
Cathedral.
Really? And do you have a favorite teacher at school? Do you have a lot of them?
Yeah.
Kind of hard to narrow it down? Can you
Yeah.
tell us a few?
Who's your teacher?
My main teacher, Mrs. Dobbins. My art teacher, Mrs. Lindy. And my music teacher, Mrs. Jensen.
Well, you did a really good job with that. Is it okay if we ask Mom some questions right now about you? Are you okay
Yep.
with that? Okay. All right. So, Sophie, our superhero, can we go back in time?
Sure.
And tell us how Sophie's story got started?
Yeah, absolutely. So when Sophie was 5 years old, we noticed the winter after she turned 5 that, things were just a little off with Sophie. What we later learned were some telltale signs of type 1 diabetes. At the time, we weren't really sure what was going on with her.
What were you noticing?
So we were noticing that she was thirsty all the time to a whole nother level that we had never really had before, and going to the bathroom a ton, which, those two things go hand in hand.
Yeah, sure.
Really hungry. And so we thought, gosh, she must be going through some growth spurt or something's going on here. But it wasn't until we started realizing that she was just really lethargic, not herself. Her grandma actually noticed that she had been losing some weight because, of course, we're with her every day.
Right.
So it takes someone from the outside to kind of say, hey, something's up, for us to finally go in and just, let's get this figured out. Let's see what's going on. And we thought, something easy, get a prescription, make everything better. And that day we went in and we were told that Sophie had, like I said, the telltale signs of type 1 diabetes.
How did that digest with you? Could you process that? I mean, what happened?
No, it was really tough to process, to be really honest with you. Not at all anything that we were expecting. Like I said, we were hoping, as with, sore throats and colds and anything else that we might have had to come into the hospital with before, let's get some antibiotics, let's go home and let's fix the problem. And this was one that we can't fix.
Okay, so then now you're getting an education.
Big education.
Did you guys get to come home? Did you come home right away, or did you have to stay?
Yeah, we had to stay in the hospital for a couple of days, which, of course, like Mandy said, when you expect to go into the hospital and get some medication, a prescription, go pick it up and get back to business as usual, they told us, well, you're going to be in the hospital for a few days and you're going to learn all about diabetes and finger pokes and shots. And we had to just say, slow down. Are you sure? Is this exactly what's going on? And they said, yeah, there's no doubt about it. So from there, we just started to learn everything we possibly could.
It's probably not what was on the agenda for the week when that
No.
happened. So all of a sudden, you hit the brakes.
Totally hit the brakes.
And now you have a whole nother focus that you have to go with. So now we're getting an education. And at that point, how was Sophie feeling in the hospital? What point were we at?
Yeah. So Sophie, when we first entered the hospital, still wasn't really herself. We later came to find out that we caught it fairly early. So, kind of a normal blood sugar range is for you and I is in the hundreds. Sophie was well over 600 for her blood sugars. And really, she could have been a whole lot sicker than she was. So we were lucky to catch it when we did. But the interesting thing was, as soon as she was able to start getting insulin in her body the way it's supposed to be and start processing foods the way she's supposed to process, we started to see our Sophie come back just in those couple days in the hospital, which is pretty awesome. So all of the things that Mom and Dad had to learn in a total whirlwind, we got to learn. We never thought we'd use math the way that we use math these days.
What are you calculating?
So for when you're diabetic, you have to calculate carbohydrates, and that allows us then to cover however many carbohydrates she eats at every meal or snack with insulin. And so we have ratios constantly rushing through our heads trying to figure out how do we balance and help her body to process the foods for energy like she needs.
So it's been a couple years since easy peasy, here's supper, let's all sit down and enjoy. So those days are done.
Yep.
So now the calculations, and what happens when we're grocery shopping?
We read a lot of labels. Yep. We're constantly reading labels, trying to make sure that we can, make life as easy as possible for ourselves, just to make sure that Sophie's healthy.
When Sophie is at school, or if Sophie's over at a friend's house or something like that happens, and you guys aren't there to control what's going to happen as far as eating, are you worried? Are you nervous? What do you do to prepare for something like that?
Well, I think worried and nervous is kind of a constant friend of ours these days. But what we can say, I think, now that we're nearing our 3-year diabursary, we call it.
A diabursary?
A diabursary
Okay.
in February. We've seen Sophie grow in her independence. She knows her body. She knows what to do. Thanks to CMN, we have been able to get an insulin pump, which makes our lives so much easier, makes Sophie's life so much easier, so that she really can be independent. So technology has really been our friend to help some of those worries kind of dissipate.
That was one of the ways that Children's Miracle Network hospitals aided you, is with the pump. Was there any other circumstances that they were able to jump in and help?
Well, of course, when we were in the hospital, as we're in our whirlwind of mathematics, ratios, and learning how to give our daughter shots to keep her alive, we forget about ourselves, right? And so CMN was there to remind us, Mom and Dad, you need a break. You need to go eat. Here's some meal vouchers, and take care of ourselves so that we could take care of her.
We're entering our last half hour of the Radiothon, the Children's Miracle Network Radiothon. And what we're going to do is ask people to call in this last half hour at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. As you can hear, the Miss America organization is well represented, and they're ready to pick up the phones. It's 784-KIDS. We are going to end this on a great, big, happy high note. Some stories that we've heard the last 2 days aren't happy, and some are. It sounds like you guys are doing really great.
We're doing awesome. We're doing really good.
But it wasn't without a lot of help from friends and family, and of course CMN has been there for so many. We just named a few things, but there's been so many things that they've stepped up and really helped us out with that have increased her quality of life by tenfold.
Well, your life is upside down.
A little bit, yeah.
Your life's upside down. It sounds like you guys have found a really good balance. How does Olivia handle some of this with her older sister, with the attention? And, Sophie is our superhero, and I know she loves and supports her big sister. What about, are you watching for signs, or, what's going on there?
Oh, you want me to answer that one?
Okay.
Well, Olivia is a very good helper. She is kind of our little nurse whenever we need to handle things. She's always there to assist us with anything that Sissy needs. So she's a really great helper. That, of course, was one of the first questions that we asked as well.
Well,
Is that something that we need to watch for? Now we know what to watch for. The interesting conversation we actually had with our doctor is that, you guys have a means to figure out if she has high blood sugars if you're ever worried. So,
of course. You know,
We
but
know
you know
what we're
what?
looking for.
You know what? It's something as common sense as that.
Right.
Is somebody to turn the light on and say, "Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
We have all kinds of equipment at home. If we do have that, question,
Right.
you can do that."
Right, exactly. So we are well into this world and know what we're looking for, but of course hope that we never see that sign in this one.
Children's Miracle Network Hospital Radiothon, 784-KIDS, 784-5437. Willing and ready to take your pledges. We will, it's funny how all of a sudden things, after 30 hours, we have to actually end it. We don't want to end it because, what this does, it gives us a chance to reconnect with you guys,
Yeah.
the families and the kids. And reconnecting is really fun to see. We've seen so many families come through and go, oh my gosh, look how big they're getting. And see, as moms and grandmas, we know that kids grow, but until you see them, it's like, oh, and it's really neat. And through some of the different, things, the events that happen throughout the year, we can, keep tabs on you guys, because that's kind of what we do. And it's kind of what Children's Miracle Network hospitals do for you guys. I mean, did it amaze you that all of a sudden the organization was there?
Oh my goodness.
I mean, did you even know where they popped out of? I mean,
Well, we actually were lucky to have a friend who worked for CMN, and she made us aware to say, if you need help, please don't be afraid to ask. That's what they're there for. So that was a really nice thing that we were a little bit aware of before. But I will say thank you guys for all the work that you've done. We had a blast at the Maple Leaf Parade with you guys.
wasn't
and-
that something?
Oh, my goodness.
Kurt Schultes and the Stays.
Oh my goodness.
Oh,
You know
they
what they
sounded great.
did? They wanted to play until the very end for you guys because they felt such a connection. I need to let you know that great Uncle Dennis and family is listening.
Hi,
and
guys.
they
They're at
want
Deke's
the
Den.
phones to ring too. They want the phones to ring too. Do you want to say hi, you guys, to your great Uncle Dennis?
Hi.
Oh, he's on the phone right now. Oh, Grandpa.
Grandpa's on the phone. Say hi, Grandpa.
Hi, Grandpa.
What's Grandpa's name?
Doo-doo.
His real name is Dwayne, but we call him Doo-Doo. She's not saying anything inappropriate.
I was gonna say, okay.
And he's blushing.
Yeah, well. But what a grin and a smile.
Yeah.
Sophie knows the deal.
Oh,
She
yeah.
knows it. So the phones are ringing, and it makes our heart warm, too, to hear that. It's 784-KIDS, 784-5437. There's some more support. It's your family that's listening as well and calling in, walking the walk.
They've been there every step of the way. So this is one more way that they've been able to support us, and we could forever be thankful.
We have 2 calls that have come in since we've been talking. And what we're going to do is ask folks to just, call and put your money where the miracles are. And I think what we'll do is give them the phone number once again. It's 784-KIDS, 784-5437. How about words of encouragement to take the step to pick the phone up? What would you say to somebody who might need just a little bit more of a reason?
Sure.
Well, I will say yesterday when I was mowing the lawn and I had my headphones on listening to, I don't know who was on the radio at that point, but I remember hearing you interview the Payne family,
Oh, yeah.
who are obviously becoming good friends of ours. They did a fantastic job. I don't think we'll ever catch what they did yesterday, which is totally fine. That was great. Sarah pointed out that just a $10 donation would account for 2 meal vouchers, which is huge. It was absolutely huge for us to get that. I mean, just a small donation like that can actually make a really big difference. So if you can't afford to do a larger donation, that's totally fine. Every little bit will help.
We had a donation earlier today, and I don't remember which family, but it was a $500 donation. That would buy 100 meal
Yeah.
vouchers.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
And we broke it down like that, and that is
amazing.
astounding. And like we have been saying, you don't know when you're going to need some help.
So true.
You don't know what kind of help you're going to need,
Yep.
and you don't know where it's going to come from, because a lot of people not real comfortable with asking for help.
We know what that feeling is like. Absolutely.
You're not.
Right.
Because for a lot of us, we're the ones that are helping somebody else. But you know what?
Absolutely.
All of a sudden, we're the ones that need it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's amazing that we have that little bit of an umbrella that you're under, because I feel like once you're in the system with Children's Miracle Network hospitals, you're in the system. But what you guys are doing today by sharing Sophie's story, our superhero, is you're giving back, because the only ones that can really tell Sophie's story is who's sitting on the couch over here. And you guys are doing a fantastic job.
you.
Hey, Sophie, What do you think you want to be when you grow up? Have you ever thought about that?
It changes. What is it today?
Well, what's today's?
A doctor.
A doctor.
You'd like to be a doctor? I think we'd be in really good hands if you're a doctor. I think that's a really good thing to strive for.
I agree.
That's a good idea. Very good idea. You have a lot of years to prepare for that. And Mom and Dad have a lot of years to save for your college tuition.
We do.
784-KIDS, 784-5437, the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's Radiothon. And we are putting some of the Miss America organization to work. I don't know if you guys can hear over your ear here, but the
Yes.
Blood Center of Wisconsin phone bank. If you want to ring that bell, if there's a reason to ring it, then you ring it. We have 3 calls coming in right now. And, as part of this wind down, we don't really need to wind down. We can keep the momentum going until, what time are we quitting? I don't know, 2 o'clock? All right, so we have some time left at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. When you guys go out to a restaurant, how do you do that? How do you, do you have like a super calculator in your pocket, or how do you determine?
We utilize technology whenever we can. There are several apps that are out there that, if it's at a fast food restaurant or an established chain restaurant or something like that, we can go on that app and it has the estimates for carb counts for each individual meal. But of course, when that's not available, then you just have to estimate because it's not always going to be available. And it usually works pretty well. Sometimes we guess as best we can.
Do the best we can.
Wait,
And it doesn't go as well as we hope. But
What happens if it's not exactly right?
We find out later through her blood sugar numbers if they're too high or if they drop really low really quickly. We knew we didn't guess correctly. And
How does Sophie feel different? What happens when that happens?
do you know what you want to talk about what you feel like when you have a low blood sugar?
So if I was low, then I would probably get dizzy if I went up really fast.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right. We don't want that to happen.
Right.
You know what? 6 calls just came in.
Oh,
We're up to
my
6.
goodness.
Let's hear some bells. And you know what? Let's go for 10. Should we go for 10? I think we should go for 10.
you think we can do it?
We can do it. We can do it together. We'll all team up for this. So we're at 6. We're going to go for 10. At 784-KIDS, 784-5437. And we have the Miss America organization, who's at the Blood Center of Wisconsin phone banks, taking your calls as they're coming in. We'd like to make them all busy right now. There's a couple of them that are looking at their phone, I wish this thing would ring. You know what happens is when the phone rings, and who's listening? Grandma's on the phone? Great grandma is on the phone.
Oh, we've
Okay.
got 2 great grandmas.
You got 2 great grandmas.
Oh, Grandma Flo's on the phone.
You better say hi.
Hi, Gigi Flo.
Say thank you for calling.
Thank you for calling.
Good job. And yet another call comes in at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. I just think that sometimes people don't understand. Well, maybe they do. But it used to be so easy for you guys.
Yeah.
Hop in the car, away you go. If you're not really going to be around somewhere at noon, it really didn't matter.
Right.
Or whatever time that we need, every few hours that we need time
So
to
true.
stop and have something to eat, you could just go. That's not the way it is.
No, we have a pretty structured schedule these days. Mealtime needs to happen around the same time every day because otherwise, like you heard earlier, Sophie doesn't feel very well.
She doesn't feel well, and you don't like that when you don't feel well. You know what's going to make you feel good right now? We're up to 7 calls.
All right.
We're working for 10. We're up to 7. One right after another. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. So it seems to me what happens now is there's a lot of pre-planning.
Yep. Yep.
You must just have to map out your week.
We do our best, absolutely. Although, the more practice we get, the better we are on the fly. Like I said, with Sophie being as independent as she is, every day gets a little bit easier. So
How often do you guys have to come in for your doctor appointments? Is that starting to get fewer and farther in between?
Yeah, it's about every 3 months now.
Okay.
Yep. It was so nice. We got to see our doctor here today, didn't we? Shout out to Dr. Katie.
Really?
Uh-huh. Yeah, just a nice coincidence today.
So, like your family, is all over this because Uncle Jesse just called in.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, they are all over this. You know, every time John holds up a sign, it's another family member, which is great.
That Kupiet's clan. Oh, Kathy. All right.
See,
Hi, Nana.
your family is all over this thing. They must love you girls very much.
Yep, and Nana was the one that actually pointed out to us at first that she was
She's
a little
the one that
concerned
figured
about.
out. Grandma's
She was
the
the
one
first
that
one to
was-
say the word diabetes to us, so
Yeah.
thank
She
you
was
for
in
that.
tune.
Yep.
She was in tune. Well, you guys caught it early.
We did.
Yes,
And
luckily.
you know, I can see where that would be an issue because you guys see them every single day.
Yeah, right.
But when you have grandma that sees them every other day or every
Right.
third day or once a
Right.
week, you start noticing, oh, she looks like she's losing a little weight.
Right.
Was that the first thing that she noticed? Was that what it was? or
That
what-
was, I think the biggest thing. Yep. We had a slumber party at Nana and Papa's house, didn't we? And when we came back from the slumber party, they knew something was off, and that was our sign. I think we just needed one more person to give us that nudge because we knew something was up, but we needed that nudge to say, yep, we have to go in.
And
Well,
I think
then-
for me, it was how crabby she was, and that sounds so typical. You know, sometimes kids get crabby; it's just
Right.
what happens. But she was very, very much not herself.
Right.
So we knew that was just atypical of her personality.
Yeah.
Sometimes we call that Cranks McGee.
Oh,
Yeah.
for sure. We
Oh,
had
we had
Cranks and
Cranks,
McGee for
yeah.
sure.
We have Cranks McGee. But you know what? When you don't feel good, you know, adults do that. I mean, when John
Totally.
doesn't feel good, oh. We're up to 8 calls at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. But I mean, I don't mean to make fun of that because
You're
when
right.
you don't feel good, you don't feel good.
Right,
And
right.
I mean, that's just a normal response. You are not yourself.
Right.
So we're up to 8 calls. We need 2 more. Sophie, are we going to do this? Superhero Sophie?
Yeah.
Are we doing this?
Yep.
We're doing this. We need 2 calls, 784-KIDS, 784-5437. Miss America organization is taking calls. I can see them over there. They're just like, okay, all right, I'm going to jump on it, you know, when that phone rings. Because, see, it goes over from one phone to the other, and whoever jumps on it first gets it.
Ooh,
So they're
gotcha.
sitting on the edge of their seat, and they're just ready. Because we know the generosity of this community, and we are really confident that we're going to get those 10 calls at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. A very successful Children's Miracle Network Hospital Radiothon, and it's made possible by people who are generous, and kids are number one.
Oh my goodness. And the fact that it stays local. I think that's one of the biggest things for us is that this is such a wonderful organization to be able to give back to in this way, is that we know that your money is going to help the kids of our community.
And you know, like you guys were saying, okay, now you have some really good friends that are new friends, but you're making them through the organization.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it's been such an awesome year so far to meet, you know, Justice's family and Madeline's family and Blake's family, and Chloe's family. We've just really been able to have a lot of fun together, but also be able to share in something that, you know, is unique to some of our families that have had to have, you know, medical emergencies or ongoing things going on in our life.
As
So-
with all things, there's a deadline, and the deadline is just a few minutes. And getting that phone ringing at 784-KIDS, 784-5437. It's a Children's Miracle Network Hospital Radiothon. We need 2 calls. We'll get them. Rena's over there just doing the dance. She's doing the nervous dance. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. You guys kind of want to turn your heads a little bit and see some of the action that's going on.
What's going
Because we
on
are
there?
waiting for 2 more calls, and they're getting nervous. The anticipation. I think we have a call coming in right now. We'll let you know in just a second. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. Is there anything else that we have missed? We've talked about. Oh, you did think of something.
We do. One of the biggest, most recent things that CMN has helped us with this summer. Do you want to tell them about it, Sophie? Where did CMN help you go this summer?
Where did you go?
Diabetes camp.
Diabetes camp. So
What do you do at diabetes camp?
We go swimming. When it's raining, we have dance parties.
You have dance parties when it's raining? What kind of music do you dance to?
Country music.
Country music is your favorite.
Oh.
Well, that's wonderful. So do you feel like you can be a kid at camp?
Yes.
Mom and Dad, how do you feel when she's away? How did that go?
That was amazing.
It was an amazing feeling. It was the first time, I think, in almost 3 years that we felt like we could breathe because we knew she was in really good hands. Everybody around her was just like her, and everybody taking care of her knew exactly what to do. So it felt weird for us, honestly, throughout the day to be without her, but not to have that level of worry that we're just so used to constantly being kind of on our shoulders.
And we
So-
talked about how when you go to a restaurant, you're not sure the carb counts and everything. Everything was taken care of because everyone has diabetes there. The counselors, the kids, everyone has diabetes. So it was really nice for her to experience being the norm instead of the exception. Yeah. So I know that after the first day we dropped her off, she basically told us that we had to get her or let her out of the car and then not walk her in because she was with her friends now.
How did that feel like for you guys to drive away?
First day was rough,
Was it rough?
but after that she enjoyed it so much that
Where is the camp?
It's up in Hudson, Wisconsin, and this year, given her age, she just was able to do a day camp. So we got to see her at the end of every day. By day 2, she made it very clear that next year she is 8 and she will be doing the overnight camp. So,
Are you ready for the overnight camp? Okay.
Yeah.
Are you, Mom and Dad, ready for the
we'll
overnight
talk
camp?
about that next
Okay.
year, Jenny.
All right.
We'll let you know how that goes.
Yeah. You can visit with us next year and we'll talk about that. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. Just looking for 2 more calls, and we're going to work on this because it's nearing the end at 2 o'clock. We'll go back to our normal programming, and what we want to do is finish on a really, really good note.
That would be
And,
great.
well, we are. And this was really neat when I looked and I saw, oh, you guys are coming in. You'll be our final hour together. Because, Sophie, you're pretty special.
Aw,
You're
think
pretty
so,
special.
too.
And it was super fun having you on that float for the Maple Leaf Parade.
That was awesome, wasn't it?
Did you like it?
Yeah.
And it was a beautiful day for it. Did you see a lot of interesting outfits along the parade route?
Yes.
Yes, we did too. We certainly did. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. You're listening to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's Radiothon as we're getting near to the close. Fantastic run that we've had. Sophie, would you do me like a huge favor?
Yeah.
If I ask you to say something, do you think you would say it for us?
Yeah.
Could you say, please, could we have 2 more calls?
Please, could we have 2 more calls?
Music to my ears. How about music to your ears? 2 more. Oh, we have another call coming in. Okay. All right, Sophie, could you please say, could we have 1 more call?
Could we have 1 more call?
That's the sweetest thing I ever heard. 784-KIDS, 784-5437. And we're waiting for that one last call. And you know what? We're not going to leave until we get
Yeah,
it.
let's do this.
We're going to dig our heels
We're running
in.
out of time
We're
here,
very
people.
soft. 1 more call. 1 more. 1 more. 1 more call at 784-KIDS.
Hey, the phone just rang.
Okay. You guys have been amazing. I hate to say goodbye, but we're going to let you go and
Thank
finish
you.
your Saturday. Sophie, honey, thank you so much for doing such a wonderful job as being a hero.
Thank you for letting us be here.
Oh, honey, you're welcome. Keep up the good news. Let's hope that we can see each other pretty soon and get an update. How would
Sounds
that be?
great.
Thank you for everything
All
you guys
right.
do.
Yeah.
You're listening to the Children's Miracle Network Hospital's Radiothon, a service of the La Crosse Media Group.